networking afterwards, feel free to go up and grab some drinks and things like that as well. This will be recorded, and everybody that has registered will get the recording and everything afterwards as well. So we're just going to jump in quickly to just some sponsorship stuff and also just some Copilot updates first. So to keep these things free, the Reactor here, great partnership with them. Obviously got this space, putting on pizzas and food and all that sort of stuff. Digital First Australia, also today's sponsor for all the beverages that you can have. All right. So thank you for Digital First and the Reactor as well and Nadia and everybody for the organisation. Also, if you haven't subscribed, this is just a little plug, QR code to the newsletter, the copilotstudio.com. Jump on there if you haven't already registered. All the updates every single week, or I'll post out a little video or bits and pieces and interviews and podcast and everything like that. So hopefully you're all subscribed to that. If not, jump on and pop your email address in there. First of all, let's just go through what's rolling out with Copilot. It's pretty busy in this space at the moment, obviously changing a lot, updates happening every single day, every couple of hours. You log in and something else is different. So it's pretty good to, I'm not going to go through everything obviously in the roadmap because there is a lot. But what we do have that is rolling out at the moment, I've just handpicked a few little things here. So in Outlook, access Copilot directly from the new Outlook for Windows and the web. So that's going to be the same experience that you get when you go to copilot.microsoft.com. You're going to have a new little Copilot button on the left-hand side. You've probably already seen it already if you've got the Copilot licensing inside of Outlook on the left-hand side, same experience. So you don't have to switch context and everything like that. So that is rolling out. You've probably already seen it already. Again, Copilot 365. Now, this is kind of pretty good, I reckon, because when you're referencing a file inside of Copilot, when you're using a / or you're using the button to reference a file, sometimes it can be not pick up things as quickly as you would expect. It only gives you a couple of little responses and answers as well. But what you can do now is just grab the link to a file, and then you can paste that as a reference into the conversation as well. That's pretty good. Excel, anybody that uses Excel, I don't particularly like Excel. I find it hard, but with Copilot, I'm starting to use it a bit more and more and more. And this is something that I do quite a bit as well, is just using Copilot to create some formulas for me, even if it's simple things like splitting cells into multiple columns. But now what you're going to be able to do is be able to do multiple formula columns from a single prompt as well. In development, there's quite a bit, right? So 74 things as of right now. There's 74 things in development. No, I am not going through every single one of them, but there's a few things that I just wanted to highlight through here as well. Plugins, and I reckon, Cam, you're probably going to be across these plugins with Copilot in M365 or in copilot.microsoft.com. You're going to be able to use plugins via that experience to expand the skill set. So if you've used ChatGPT before, there's that plugin ecosystem there. Similar concept, building plugins, extending things, making that even more enriched in what you can do. So available, or the preview's available now. The rollout's not going to be until sort of later in the year. Well, you can just jump up there too. So in Outlook, so preparing for meetings. Those of you that are in and out of meetings all the time, this is coming to the desktop experience and the web experience as well. So when you do have an upcoming meeting, you are going to be able to, Copilot's going to proactively show a little prepare button that's going to generate everything, well, hopefully close to everything that you do need to prepare for that particular meeting. OneDrive, there's a couple of things coming to OneDrive as well. So it is going to be available in the web, and it's going to allow you to ask questions and get information from files inside of your OneDrive for Business as well. Not just SharePoint. So summarizes one or multiple files. You can see the file types there, right? Doc, Word, Loop, PowerPoint, etc., etc. So that's, again, coming pretty soon, July. Integration with a file viewer. So if you open up a file inside the file viewer there in the browser, you'll get the Copilot panel and the Copilot experience on the right-hand side. Again, July expected, but you never know. It's probably going to be, it is Microsoft, so it may not stick to that. This is something, again, with a combination of Designer and Copilot inside of Word. So being able to find that that visual with Copilot and Designer inside of Word as well. So it's soon those two experiences will be integrated into Word pretty soon. Scheduling from emails with Copilot. So if you've got an email conversation happening and you need to schedule a meeting, then you're going to be able to do that via a button as well. So you can see there when you click on a schedule with Copilot, a meeting form is going to appear and allow you to schedule that meeting and also automatically add all those people that are inside of that conversation or inside of that thread as well. It is already in preview. Seen it a little bit. It's the rollout, the GA will start around June. Now these things are pretty cool, right? So Copilot in SharePoint, right? So that's coming to create and generate and get assistance in drafting. Remember that we're always wanting to check stuff as we're using the responses that are coming back, but getting assistance with the content creation inside of SharePoint as well is coming. Preview is already available. Now this was just announced at Build, right? So Build's just happened, big conference. This has just come out here too, right? So what is going to happen is you're going to be able to create your custom Copilots directly from within SharePoint. So if you've got a SharePoint site and you're an admin or a business unit user with edit rights, you're going to be able to create your own custom Copilots that's scoped specifically to that and I'll say grounded, it's overused, but grounded in that content of that SharePoint site. The key points there. So site owners are going to can enable any site to get a built-in Copilot that's scoped to the content of that site. Beyond the site owner, though, anyone that's got edit permissions, if it's enabled on the site, can create a Copilot. Forgot the capital C. Somebody's going to kill me, and somebody will comment. I can guarantee it for the site. So as a member of the site, you'll have a little on the top right hand corner. You'll have a little click or create a Copilot. And what you can actually do, which is pretty neat, is be able to select from a document library a folder or specific files inside that library and have that custom Copilot scoped to those specific documents and only that content. So if you've got a library with hundreds of thousands of documents in it, you can select a group of documents and have a Copilot that's just scoped to those documents itself. And you can share that. So the sharing functionalities that you'll get is like sharing a file or a folder. So you'll be able to share that and allow people to use that Copilot, let's say paste it in Teams, and you'll be able to access that Copilot directly within Teams using that same sharing dialog box that you see when you're sharing files. Extendable as well, right? So you can scope it to your site or your documents or things like that, but you can extend it through Copilot Studio. So you can open up in Copilot Studio and have some different data sources in combination with that content inside your SharePoint site. A few little short screenshots here, right? So top right-hand corner, you see the top little Copilot icon there, and there's your Copilot on the right-hand side. Here we're selecting documents. All right, and you can create in the ribbon or in the command bar there, you can create your Copilot based on those 4 documents that have been selected there, and it's only grounded in those 4 documents. There's your sources, right? So we can edit sources after the fact too, add sources, change things, and really customize that experience as well. That is all I'm going to do. I wanted to run through that really, really quickly because I want to give Kirsty the most amount of time to go through everything that she needs to go through. But if you do want to connect, keep updated, jump in, connect with me on there. And with that, I will hand over to Kirsty. I'm going to take it. I'll leave that for you. You want the mic?
Sure. Mind you, I'm pretty noisy. That's it. Short but noisy. Okay. Right, just in case, just take this. Actually, should be able to disconnect, but I'm not going. And just in case it's not quite charged. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Okie doke. Rightio. AI, is it going to take over your role? No, but someone else who knows it might actually take over your role. We're seeing a little bit of this going on around the place. Okay, so Copilot in the fast lane, it'll be a bit Kirsty in the fast lane, ton of content. You're talking about a really big topic, adoption. You know, when you look at measurement, change, comms, training, champions, you know, all these things, actually it's a really, really big topic. There is a ton of content in this presentation, a lot of hidden slides. So I'm not going to be necessarily bringing it all up, but I've collated together for you all this content that you're actually going to find around the place into one presentation for a takeaway. So if you actually want it, please feel free to scan, or you can do the bit.ly link. I will bring it up again at the end if you do miss out on it. Okay, so a ton of content in there, because there is some stuff that's just a little bit hidden. So I'm going to highlight a few things along the way that will actually help you on the journey. And because there is a ton of content, I am going to be going through, it's a bit fire hose. I'll absolutely tell you it's a fire hose because it is a big topic. But I want you to be able to have the takeaway of the most amount of information as possible. So who am I? I am a Microsoft MVP, a bit like, you know, we've got a few in the room. So welcome MVPs, always good to see you. As a most valued professional, we're awarded for technical excellence in the community. I'm 6 times awarded. I am a change practitioner. I'm also a certified online learning facilitator. I am a trainer, so I've got a lot of experience across this space. As well as I run the adoption user groups for Australia, both across Sydney as well as Melbourne. I've been doing that for over 8 years. So we will be presenting next Tuesday. We generally do it the first Tuesday of the month. And we've got swoops analytics around SharePoint and good internet sites, and how long do people actually spend and where do they go, and all the fun stuff out of their research and white paper will be next Tuesday. And then the following month will be Mocha with Rishi Nikolai. He's the behavioural specialist, global behavioural specialist, and he will be coming to speak in a month's time. So he'll be talking Mocha if you haven't seen the whole Mocha. I have done over 160 programs, have trained over 180,000 people, stopped counting around about 4 years ago. Gave up. I have a YouTube channel where all the recordings actually are all previous speakers around Copilot, all sorts of great topics, and getting out there. So I answer questions for the community if you've ever got anything you would like us to answer for you. So it's all up on the YouTube channel to be able to help you out. When I'm not doing that, I'm playing with Play-Doh. No, it's actually cake decorating. So this is where I tend to wind down when I wish to wind down. So I often play here. If you want to talk about anything that's not M365, you can talk cakes with me. Always a fun topic. So adoption. Now I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey through the adoption piece, and I'm going to, in amongst all of the content, I'm going to show you where there are gaps and how you can potentially fill it, because there is content, but not all of the content, the things that you actually need in the journey. I'm going to say where there's some, you know, hits, misses, great stuff. I'll circle a few things along the way. I'll also give you my insights in terms of training and what I'm actually seeing out in industry where things are falling over, ways you might be able to pitch it a little better to actually make it faster. Okay, so it will be strap your sneakers on. Are you ready? I know users need to feel comfortable with change. They need to know how it is actually going to affect their role. So if you say we're rolling out AI, the average user is going, I don't know how to use AI. You know, half the time they're lucky if they can even do Excel or PowerPoint or Word. And then you're going to start doing AI and we've got it in Planner. I don't know Planner. Do I need to know Planner? And people are freaking out and how it's going to affect their job. So you need to be a little careful in terms of how you're actually pitching this information. I've got someone come off mute. Okay. Ultimately, successful adoption. So if you want to get sustainable, successful adoption, it's actually more.
You're on mute. Sorry, Kirsty, for somebody muted everyone and they muted the presenter. Thank you.
Let me come in. There we go. I'm back on. Thank you for that. So So it's about fundamentally changes in behavior. What we want to do is changes about people. So when I go on an adoption journey and we talk about change management, for example, it's just conflict negotiation and resolution. That's what we do really with our day in terms of change management. Any project manager who's dealing with trying to get people on the journey knows that that's very much what it's about. So how do we make it then successful? Because we got to get people to click a button. But why do they click a button in the first place? Okay, so there's a few things that come up as challenges. So when we start to look at adoption, and adoption really starts, well, why? What's the mission for the business? What's your vision around why you're going to AI? Why is it actually coming into play? Why are you bringing this productivity tool? Why? And they kind of go, well, it doesn't affect me. I don't really care, I'm not going to push the button. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm getting my job done. I'm paid. Yeah. Why would I go on that journey? So we need to give them a bit of an aha moment. Now, an aha moment is actually a brain spike. It's a full-on reaction happening in the body where they align something from one thing to another. And if they're aligning from one thing to another, what they're actually doing is they're going, I could do that with this process and I could fix that, and they start re-engineering. Now, that actually takes a real aha moment. But an aha moment is no good without a what's in it for them, because they can get their aha moment and go, that's really cool. Who's got the, the dicer and slicer, but really you didn't quite learn how to use it and it looked good, but I don't know why I would use it. I don't eat vegetables. Yeah. Okay. So, well, what's in it for them? Because they kind of go, well, I'm never in Excel and you just demoed how to use an Excel and how cool it is. I don't use it. Okay. So you've got to be where they are. So you give them the what's in it for them, but you've got to reinforce it because they're going to forget to press the button. So then you've got to constantly, you've got to have a marketing plan around it. And what's the ongoing and the learning and the stories? And I was having a chat with Beck. The stories make a huge difference. You put them out there. How did others use it in the business? Give them good use cases at the end. Okay, so when we go on this journey and we understand getting to the aha. Now, this is a slide, so if they're kind of all in the purpley, these are some of the Microsoft slides. You're going to find this. You can download tons of different packs, and I'll show you where. So it's that aha moment is the moment of sudden insight or discovery. Bing, woohoo, cool, like that, I'm going to go there. Okay, so we want to get them through this process to come out the other end and continue in what we class as sustainable adoption. It's not just adoption. An adoption doesn't mean you've assigned a license, because I've seen it used that way an awful lot. We assign the they've adopted is now assigned license. It's like, no, you want them to go back again and again, at least 21 times to embed that habit to click the button. Okay, so it's going to take some effort. So we look at the adoption curve. You think about November 2022, ChatGPT came out, bang, all those innovators are in, woo, like that, that was fun. And they're here today and building some pretty cool stuff when it comes to AI. But you got a lot of people that are really, at the moment, they're all in this early kind of majority. It's only just rolling out. Copilot's still pretty new. It's going to take a while. Do we need the laggards on board? What's your digital policy? Where's the digital literacy program and your KPIs and things to be able to bring them on the journey, your good collaboration contracts around productivity, all sorts of things to bring the laggards along, because they're not going to like it. You think about it. We have now got 5 generations in the workforce. It's no longer 4. For a long time we had 4, but the 5th has just creeped in. Those little young ones that have come in, love them dearly. I've got them. They're there. It's not faces. Love them dearly. But we got the baby boomers and they're slowly starting to come out of the workforce. But you still got 5 generations who've got very different ways of tackling this. Some aren't scared. Some are scared, are and aren't. So how are you going to tackle them on that journey? And we have a look at it in terms of those technology adopters and getting it to the point where you go, I want to get everyone on board. It's going to take some time to win over everyone. So you're going to have different strategies for different teams, for different peoples, okay, as we go. It's no longer just an adoption curve. It's a bit of a rocket. You look at where we used to be in technology compared to where we are now, things are changing. So where you used to have a curve that kind of went, this big long curve, now it's pretty much straight up. It's like bang, it's exponential growth. So you're taking people on, this change at the moment is moving so hard and so fast. It's scary for a lot of people because they're going, it's constantly the evolution. And even you look at Microsoft Teams. alone, 400 odd updates over the space of a year, just 75 just in Copilot, moving really quickly. So it's a little overwhelming for people. And the AI side of it, the impact is real because it is going hard and fast. It is now 20 times faster than anything else when it comes to its adoption. So you think, well, they should just be using it, shouldn't they, if it's going really fast? I say, well, no, because a lot of it is hidden underneath stuff. There's a great stuff that we can do around AI that's all very hidden because it's all part of a form and it's surfacing information and people don't realize. But when you want to get the individual on the journey to type something in, that's a behavior change. That's different. Okay, so we want to get some of it. Now, if we look at then the digital, Brenna, and where we are, there's a bit of a gap between the two in the learning journey. And so there is a bit of a gap. And we need to look at how we help people on that journey. So we have to have some good programs in place. And what do they look like? So I can actually help an organisation get from one end to the other in around about 28 days. That's the sort of a program that we can actually do if you're doing it correctly. Do you want them to actually stay there? That takes longer than 28 days. Okay. It's not going, there's nothing that's going to be, I ticked the box and now I can walk away. So many projects that I see, it's like, we rolled it out. Who's got some old legacy systems and they had rolled it out and then there was 5 people in the whole of the business and you spent, 1.2 billion on it. There's plenty of those out there that got deprecated, I can tell you now. So when we break it down and we look at an adoption program, often we even bring measurement right up towards number 2 as well, because we have to have all that business case and it's all purchased and it's rolled out. Now, I'm not talking the technical because I'm in the business user space. So I'm on the adoption end user side of things. And what does that journey look like and how do we help them? So we have all our stakeholders. We've got to have our user experience strategy in place. What are the personas? Who are in the business that we're actually targeting? What's the scenario, why they would even use it in the first place so it can align to something in particular. And rolling out and doing something like a pilot is a little different when it comes to Copilot than it is the other technology that you've worked with. So from there, as we start to roll out, and that rollout is big, we got a lot of things we need to do to make people aware. A lot of channels, omni-channel. There's so many ways that we need to tackle it to make it be heard. And it's not enough to just go, we've sent an email out. It's like, so have you read your emails? No. Well, how do you expect them to read their emails? So not necessarily the best way. But measurement is only as good as the foundational starting point that you've come from. I see it, we're going to do a survey. I say, well, what was your benchmark? Oh, we didn't do anything beforehand. I go, well, how are you going to measure against where you were? So start and finish and have a bit of measurement around it. There are some things that you can't measure, of course, because if you never had Copilot before, but you could measure lots of other stuff that it actually affects, okay? So we'll start to have a look at that. So understanding that business case, and if anyone's gone out and had a bit of a look, you could just go do ChatGPT. You could do the free component and it's there inside Windows as well. It's in preview at the moment. You could just click the button and you could use it there. Okay, so there's lots of free stuff if you were that way inclined. However, when it comes to the purchasing of it, do we really need it for every single person within the business? No, not necessarily. Working with a large manufacturer, they have got hundreds of truck drivers. Most of them don't even know how to deal with their smartphone. And I have a friend who's a truck driver who recently just threw his laptop out the window because he goes, I don't know. With a few swear words and, oh, they don't want me to do it. I don't know. I left it back in, Bowen. And I went, okay. Do they need it? No, they don't. Who are your personas? Who are you going to assign it to? So we get pretty good around our licensing now, but sometimes even within the business, we need to have a little bit of a look as to what they would do. But I think it's a really for everyone in terms of the corporate side of things, because it's about the individual. Okay. So in the office worker, for example, the information worker, absolutely, because there's some amazing savings to be had. Okay, so moving on. A lot of people say, will I get the return on my investment? It's expensive. It's like $30 US per person on top of the licensing that I've already got. And I go, well, I can absolutely guarantee you I'm going to save you 5 minutes a day. In fact, it's a lot more than that. It's you can be about 4 hours in a week if you wanted to, quite easily, if you're clicking around. So if I was going to save you at the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum, 5 minutes a day, I'm going to get you more, but 5 minutes. if we go based on the average income, this is actually based off the Australian Bureau of Statistics, so it's all sort of grounded in that. And you go, your working days, 252, want to take off some leave, take a few days off. If you want to do it yourself, okay, neither here nor there. 252 working days at $30 US, might go up and down a bit based on the exchange. It's not great with the US at the moment, cost a little bit more. But you're looking at then that savings around just that alone on 5 minutes.
Will the employer still?
We will, that's the next piece. So if we've actually got some money back, so the money is there and we're saving on 5 minutes and productivity, it's a how can you actually spend that extra time? Because what we're seeing, it's freeing up some time. How do you actually spend it? Because if you're spending it wisely, it has an impact on so many other things in terms of your time and your job satisfaction. So whether it's organizational, they win out if it's for the individual. Okay, so we have a look at what that actually looks like. So when we come in, and I'll talk to it a little bit more. So where it is, what could you do better to remove all that functionality that is everyday doldrums of business productivity? Now, Microsoft have some fabulous content that's actually out there that's already available for you to pull on. Now, on the modern work customer site, when you go in there, they've actually been running, and it's all available for you. Sorry, I'm clicking through fast. There are lots of sessions that were run recently. The beauty of these sessions that were live, that were run recently by the team, Caruana and the team. So Caruana Guadamo actually looks after the customer advocacy route. She's actually the head of all things adoption globally. Okay, her and Heather and the team, they've run these sessions. There are videos there for you to be able to watch and presentations to even download. So this one is discovering. The next one is driving user enablement. And the third one is succeed in your organizational transformation. Okay, go and watch them, pull down the presentations. There's some great information that's actually in there to be able to help and support you on your adoption journey. Then there's the adoption readiness site around Copilot. Ton of content on there. You can also go and do Q&A and ask questions if you need it in the community. There's a Copilot community that you can ask, of which there are MVPs like myself in there answering questions for you on that journey. Okay, so go and actually have a look what's on the Copilot site. Now, underneath the adoption Copilot site, this is when we start to get into some of the content. And where I'll say where there are hits, misses, and information, I'll circle a few things here and there for you. Underneath the adoption kit, and depending on the kit that you download, okay, because there's the trainer kit, there's the success kit, there's the implementation kit, the adoption kit, the whole of everything kit, but the whole of everything kit doesn't include the adoption kit, and it doesn't include so sometimes you've got to just go download everything. And the thing is, it changes too over time, because 1 minute there's a link in there, 1 minute there's not a link in there because there's something coming, and then next minute there is a link in there because it's now here. So let me walk you through some of it. There is some cool stuff in there as a part of the adoption kit that I'm actually going to talk through as part of this session. Some of the build your own center of excellence. There is both a document, like a Word document, and a PowerPoint presentation helping you on some of this journey, which I will talk about. The workbook is fabulous. Now, the checklist leaves a little bit to be desired. I'll show you that in a minute. The user experience strategy, if you're not used to building out your own strategy around user experience, it's a good foundational to get yourself started, okay? Lots of links in there to be able to help and support you. The next one then is the success kit. So inside the success kit, it all kind of different pages doing a little bit different in terms of its content. There is a few things that I particularly like in there. It's also got links to other content. So it's not always about downloadables. There's lots of a link to a video that might help or support you that you could put onto your SharePoint site, for example, or in your FAQs, or in your, go and have a trawl through some of it. And where it becomes the fast lane and all of this is it's done for you guys. So if you haven't had a look, I'm just walking you through. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel on how to actually do this. You want to speed up, use what's there. So as part of this, you'll see there's like the user onboarding toolkit. It's different to the training kit, and it's different to the implementation kit, and it's different, okay? Some different things across the place. Let's have a look. So the user enablement guide. Some of the stuff that I particularly like in there, I do love the training kit. Let's see, I've got to go back. I lost my pen. I'm sulking. I don't know where I've put it. Let me bring up the pen on the screen. Okay, so the training kit. Now, depending on where you download the training kit. So if you download the success kit, which has actually got the training kit in it, inside the training kit in one includes all the different links to all the different training, and inside the other it doesn't. So you're going to have some anomalies across your content. And I've spoken with the team about it because that doesn't help, because this one actually has separate the training content map, which is actually including in the trainer success kit somewhere else. Okay. So there's not sometimes some consistency across the two, hence why go and have a look and look at what you can pull down. Now, some of this you'll actually see experiences explained. It's actually a video, for example. Okay. You're not going to actually be able to download some of that stuff, but sometimes it's inside the presentation as a link somewhere else. It's all in here. Okay. Love the user enablement. Now, on the leadership side of things, there's some really good content in here. Things like creating the AI council down the bottom left here. The AI council, it's like, well, what does it look like? Where, ethical AI and having a council to be able to support you on the journey for decision making around AI. Okay. So it walks you through how to set up your council, for example. So there's some great stuff in there to be able to help you around business cases, get your senior leadership on board, the journey, those sorts of things. That's where you're going to find it, let alone the technical. But I'm not in the technical space, so move on. You can have a look yourself. Now, what I particularly like, so if you download the success kit, some of the stuff in here that I particularly like, it's got a start here. It's got emails for you, and I'll come to that a little bit later on. We talk to the comms. There are emails in there, but I really like the swag. So you want your logos? It's going to be in your success kit. You're not going to get it anywhere else, but in here. You can't download it anywhere else. It is inside the success kit. So if you just even wanted to go get the logos for Copilot to help you out, all the various versions of it are in there. Okay, as a bit of a helpful aside. Now, some of this content that I particularly like, we're going to come back through it because I'll walk you through some of the content and why I like it as value. But one of the biggest things that they've actually stated as an activity that was really important was understanding the why and the vision. Often we're just, putting it out there and we haven't helped people get why the business is doing it in terms of helping our customers or succeeding or productivity or reducing down this percentage of that or increasing this percentage of this, or give it a good vision as to why you're doing it. Align it to the business visions, the cultures, the things within the business that actually makes a difference and they understand because it's aligning to something else. Okay, get that proactive support. Now, the proactive support, a really important one. I see a lot of sponsors, but these sponsors aren't necessarily good ambassadors or evangelists. That doesn't mean that they're the right person, ultimately. Just because they're making a decision might not be the person that does the rah, rah, rah for you. Find those people in senior leadership that can be your rah, rah. Okay. It may not be that, it might be someone else. It is not always, if it's your IT manager, people aren't going to listen to them because this is your product. This is your job. I'm not going to listen to you. You're always sending me something new. But if you've got the HR manager going, this is what I did that was really cool in using Copilot, and it was this and rah, 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 and talking to the senior leadership team and other people and success stories, you're going to get some traction because it kind of sits outside their little wheelhouse. So choose the right evangelists and the right leaders and the right, people out there as your champs, because champs are absolutely vital. And I've spoken plenty previously about change champs and the programs that you can do. Love them. When you put your campaign out there, have a really good marketing campaign with a similar theme, similar information right across everywhere you go. So you think about Coca-Cola wouldn't be successful if you didn't get slammed with the red and white look and feel everywhere you go, no matter what it is. A good campaign makes a huge difference. And people then go, well, this looks like fun. This is exciting. It's like, coming now, have some fun with it, wherever you can. Now, there is an implementation summary. I'm really just focused on kind of the user enablement stuff here, guys, but there is stuff around technical if you need to. The one thing that I didn't find anywhere else was this user survey kit. It was that one little link. It was in the middle of a whole heap of stuff. Loved it, okay? Because there's some good content of exactly what you can ask as a survey at the very end, and I'll show you it when we get to measuring. So these sorts of things, some of these links you're going to find elsewhere, but on another one that I found, was a whole tick list, completely separate presentation off the back of that one with different information in it of going, what are the things that you could do to actually make this successful with a bit of a tick list around it. I really like it. Okay, that one is going to give you more value along with the links that you've got on a previous one because it gives you more guidance. Now, the adoption planning kit, remember I said, it's a basic getting you started. It's a baseline, okay? So if you're not used to doing adoption, it's just a quick click of a few things that you might want to do. You've got deploying licenses, review the adoption score reporting, create some feedback, conduct self. It's a little bit on more the technical, but you're going to need to fill in a lot more. If you're in the change space, there's a lot more you'll need to go in to get yourself started. But it is a starting point. Microsoft's not here to give you the world. They're here to give you the starts of it, okay? So you'll need to fill in a lot more. Now, your stakeholders, okay. Who is your team? Whether it's a worldwide or a local, you've got 50 people. You're still going to need a team behind you to roll something out. And who are they? Who are you going to be your evangelist? Who's going to be your change champions? Work out who they are. Know what your model is. Make sure that your champs have even got things like permission from a senior leadership to do what they need to do for you. Okay, so build out that model of who are your stakeholders. Now, within that, leadership is usually one of the biggest barriers to digital transformation. Okay. Shouldn't be. They're the ones that are paying for licenses and want to roll often this out, but often they're not on board. In fact, they're the worst ones. They still do an attachment to email and they're not chatting or using Teams or don't have time. Or what we see is you look at the 5 generations in the workforce, who's usually sitting up towards the top. Okay, their idea of adopting technology might be a little bit slower and all sorts of things. So we have to target them. We have to really work with them as a stakeholder to get them on board. And something like AI, they kind of go, oh, that's really cool. They can use it. And then they're not doing it themselves. They're not leading the way. We've got to kind of do a bit of a drag of those guys in that journey. So we need a few things. Now, the culture and mindset really comes in as important because if you don't have, an open, transparent culture and people are information hoarding, and there are a lot of things that come into play when it comes to this content. Because if we want information to be pulled from SharePoint, then we need to have it in SharePoint and not hold up and it's saved into a download or desktop that's not as part of the known folder, move into OneDrives and it's in OneDrives and then you've got that turned off or not got one, okay? You're going to have problems as part of that in terms of transparency. Yes. Yes. Can we?
Yes.
Hang on, we just get you the microphone. MVP, Emma in the room for PowerPoint. Thank you, Emma.
I just thought I'd add the slide before.
Yep.
Lovely pie chart, by the way.
Yep.
The Accenture, when they rolled out Copilot, I was listening to the CEO and they were saying how all of the leadership team were pretty much forced to use it first and then it was rolled out to the rest. But it was a real major part of the strategy to get the leadership on board first.
Absolutely. More often than not, what I do is I bring them in and I workshop with those guys first and foremost so they understand the value.
Yeah.
So they need to do the workshop. And if they're not doing the workshop, I am not touching the rest of the business as an adoption consultant. Because if I haven't got them on board, nothing is going to happen. So it's not going to be successful. And frankly, I'm not wasting your money or my time on an organisation that is not interested. As a consultant and a business, you've got to have some success somewhere. I want to win. Okay, I want to have a story. I want it to look good. It's not going to look good if not one of the senior leadership is willing to go into even just 1 2-hour workshop to know. Okay, and I have it all the time. And I go, I'm sorry, this is the very beginning. I'll let you go. Have fun. If I can convince them, I will absolutely. I will work hard at it. But if I really can't, it makes a huge difference. Thanks, Emma. Absolutely. So we then have, what does that sponsorship? Do you have a change structure? Do you have change resources even to roll this sort of stuff out? And it might not be a change manager, but you have to have someone that's dedicated around change and comms and training and all sorts of things to bring it together. Now, one of the documents, and you'll see up the top, I've actually put things like, a little star around pages that I think are, you need to kind of focus on. So in here, we've got, well, who are your peoples? across the business. Get together, do your team, lay it all out. Who is the department? What are they going to do? Even do a RACI so that you actually understand who's doing what and when they're doing it. So responsibility, who's doing the responsibility, who's doing accountable, who's doing the race. Hopefully everyone knows a RACI. There is also in the success kit, you've actually got the stakeholder management mapping tool. So this is a bit of a change piece, which is new for Microsoft. They don't normally put in a lot of the change content. So having this in there is good, because what you can do is have a look at the people and give them a score of influence. Are they resistors? Are they, it's for you and your team to kind of work out who should you actually be tackling. I not long ago had a HR manager who took a whole program down. A whole program, okay? Because she wasn't there for 3/4 of it, came back and just went, no. Okay. So it can actually, because she had this quite big amount, a lot of influence, and then wasn't tackled fast enough. Okay. So be careful. So understand your stakeholders to be able to map it out and work out. Now, another slide that comes in from one of the presentations. So map out who is in the critical and tackle the critical all the time. Not physically tackle, but you get what I'm too short for that anyway. Go for the ankles. It might work. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this in terms of your ABCs. This is all stuff that's somewhat standard in the change space. They've got to be active and visible and consistent and have that single message. You want to speak with one voice between whoever's that ambassador or your sponsor, your team, your change, your comms. One voice, one message, one tagline. What's your tagline? Okay, get a good tagline going so that people know that tagline means you. Okay. Get in their objectives. How do you work with them? Give the comms plan. Tell them exactly what they need to do. Spoon feed them if you potentially can as a change manager or adoption consultant. Sometimes we literally got to drag them along. Hopefully they're pretty good and they've got a very good active voice, and we'll do it for you. Okay. So you want to do it fast. These are all the things. If you get it right, it can move quickly. Champions. I love my champs. Champs make my world go around. Frankly, if they're coming in because they just want to know what it looks like, that is not your champ. Okay? These are the yes people in the business. I'm an ex-champ. This is how I got to make a career because I loved it. Tell them things like, do you know, you can actually put this on your resume. You're an evangelist. You're a technology leader inside a business. How many people have you trained and looked after and supported on this journey? It's a fabulous thing. If they are, you're yes people. Get them to have it as part of KPIs for your digital literacy in the business. Now, one of the things that I've actually got in the presentation, it has a step-by-step guide to empower the champions today. This presentation is back in Office 365 and from 2017. Okay, it's a little old. Fundamentals still are there, basically. One and the same in terms of a champ program, but there are other content that is of value to be able to help and support. Okay. What would you do with your champs? So this is a good tick list for your champs, okay? Enthusiastic, who can commit. They need to commit. And if they not only commit, do their manager commit to them committing? You might need to ask permission that it's okay that they commit because they're going to come into weekly meetings as you're rolling out. They're going to be, looking after and training the team on things that they learn or being the yes people. And they're already the yes people, but you're just funneling them, okay? So you want to have that regular rhythm of discussions. You have to have a really good feedback mechanism. So if things are going wrong or they found something that shouldn't be there. I just saw the CEO's play slip, You need a good feedback mechanism, especially on something like Copilot, because where we get security breaches is usually because someone's given permission or put it in the wrong place. So you need your people with eyes watching, ears listening, because people will talk and go, do you know what I just saw? No, I shouldn't. It's like, what are they saying? Okay. You need your eyes and ears out there. Contests are fabulous. You can do what are the challenges each week? What do you want them to do? Try out these commands and prompts and things, give them good challenges that you can go, how did you go? What did you find? Did you find things you shouldn't have found? Did you get a response? Are we using the wrong wording for what we need in our business as part of the prompts? Okay. So you can start to create some hunt and there. Now, these are the people that you then go in. There has been a name change in terms of adoption. So if you were looking at the adoption, used to be the adoption specialist as part of your certification, if you wanted to get it, it has changed. It is going to be coming very soon. They are going to be user enablement specialists. So there's a name change for adoption to user enablement. So you'll see a user enablement across a ton of stuff coming out from Microsoft, including the reporting in the back end. If you want to give them you had your global, you got readers and you've got all these different assigning of the type of reports that they could potentially see or do in the back end of administration, it's going to change its name. Okay, so that will be flowing through to everything. Microsoft do a change champions call every month. It's got actually 2 time zones that will, or 2 times that they do it. So to look after the different time zones. Within there, you'll see that there's actually a ton of Copilot. So if you wanted to see what doing with sales, you got Copilot here, you got Copilot down here. There's like Copilot all over the place. Okay, this is with the adoption team talking about it. You can watch the videos and they have the PowerPoints afterwards to download. So you can actually pull some content from there too to be able to help and support you in your journey. So every month that's run. So you can register and you get newsletters and information for you and your champs. I ran a help desk org support using change champions and trying to work out different ways of working. I've spoken about it previously around programs on working with champs. If you do want to watch what does a successful champs program look like? It's not about Copilot, but fundamentals are still the same no matter what technology. Now, our user experience strategy. There's some content in there to be able to help you around your user experience strategy. These are things like your personas and scenarios. Some great content, love it. There's some really good content in there. Is there stuff that's missing? Sure. Okay, it's like anything. It doesn't necessarily align perfectly to you, maybe your business or a day in the life of. That's fine, but it gives you a fundamental and it also gives you the PowerPoint version to be able to edit said fundamentals. Whereas in the past, we used to have a PowerPoint that was converted into a PDF and we couldn't do anything with it. Okay, so now, however, we do have lots of information in there. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is we're targeting correctly to a persona. Have a look at what are the pain points in the business, because you can address these sorts of things with AI, okay? If you've got pain, pain is time and time is money. So pain can actually then, you can look at ways that you could potentially solve it, okay? And there are a lot of fabulous tools out there to do it. I'm not saying Copilot's doing everything or Studio or whatever, but start doing workshopping around what is the business pains. You might be there's just simple things, and it could be a fortnightly report that everyone keeps having to do, and could they actually pull it really easily together from here and get Copilot to pull it, you know? It could be a great scenario that would just be solved and done so much faster, because if it's pain, wouldn't that be way more fun? Okay, so we want to try and make sure that we've got some success and that we've got measurement around those use cases and scenarios. Measure before, measure after. So you can go, how much did we actually shift the needle on that pain as well? Did it work? You know, did it work for you? Did you like it? Is it fun? Is it, you know, lots of things we can do here. Now, the user experience strategy put together by Koana. So you'll actually see her signature down the very bottom. A great document to put together a lot of things that people don't think about doing. So I would recommend you go in, have a look, have a read. Do you need to put something together? If you've not thought about this sort of stuff before, it's a good kind of step-by-step and guide. The persona kit. Now, in the persona kit, this is an overarching slide view of all of the slides that are actually in there. There is some great content around the different personas for different areas of the business, and you could create your own off the back of it. So you've got finance, IT, there's lots of content. It will have things like in the persona kit, you know, what are the goals that that particular person in the persona kit would actually have? How could it actually assist? What are the roles it generally goes to? What could you do to make an impact with Copilot? This is all in the persona kit. Some really good stuff and guidance around how you might tackle it for IT or how you might tackle it for HR or finance to pitch it correctly to the persona. Okay, understand your people so that you can look at things like employee retention, making people a little happier so they're not in the drudgery of everyday type stuff. Okay, so as part of that kit, it's got what are the type of things that they could do, use case, document and communication best practices, project plans, new IT solution procurement. It's got some really good processes already in there for you, as well as the day in the life of, all in PowerPoint and not PDF. So you can start to build your own if you wanted to. There's some good stuff. Then there's the scenario library on top of it. So you've got the scenarios, the standard kind of, what they could do. However, there's a much bigger scenario library that's available on the Microsoft site to be able to help and support you if you want to try and tackle a particular area of the business with suggestions. And a lot of that content that's in there is in here, but there's a little bit more as well. Okay, so you can see in here what it will do is it will give you the scenarios of the cost per hire, for example, more information. You can come over to the right and go, what could it do? Improve how to actually write a job description. You want to know some of the things you could do with Copilot. It's going to give you some of these kind of what could you try and do with it and who might that align to as a part of it, okay? Including the AI solution, whether you've got it or not, okay? Now, when we're looking at some of the measurement, it's not just about, are they using it? There's a lot of things that come into play that you might want to get measurements on before you roll out something like Copilot. You want to look at success. We've got the adoption, light it up, but you want to be able to talk about it at the end as to what you did. How did you shift the needle with it so that you can justify spending $30 US per month for an individual, okay? Because if you just go, well, people are using it, well, so? But we managed to stop a lot of employee turnover, or we managed to get a lot more young people coming in because we've told them we're using AI in every day in our work and this is how we're using it. And they go, that's really cool. I want to be a part of that. Okay, you want to bring in young talent or you want to do something, you have a look at the ways that you could do it. Turnover. When people have better job satisfaction because they're not caught in the mundane. We're so caught in the mundane that if you have something like your own personal assistant to lift some of those everyday mundane, summarizing of a meeting because you've come in late, or you're neurodivergent and as part of being neurodiverse, you don't cope with trying to write notes as well as trying to listen in the meeting. But if Copilot was actually doing it for you, you can free yourself up to make sure you capture the things that you need to because you're very auditory, okay? So we look at it from an accessibility standpoint as well. You then start to get employee satisfaction, less turnover, there's lots of little things that come into play that you can start measuring as a specialist, whether you're in IT or HR or whatever you're doing. So many great things that you could start to look at and have a baseline of and see if it makes a difference if you tackle it. Now, the Mocha side of things, so Mocha has now included Copilot as part of it. Rishi's going to talk through this in a month's time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. If you want to see it, please feel free to come along to the user group to understand the Mocha framework. You haven't actually spent any time on it. Now, the pilot. Okay, Microsoft are actually recommending you need a minimum quarter of the business. It's not like a pilot of old. You need to turn it on, light it up, bring lots of people in because you've got to go through and you want to try and get good rapid feedback. Where are the gaps before you start then? Okay, so you need to bring lots of people on because Graph is also learning, Copilot is learning, lots of things are going on in terms of the interconnectivity. And sometimes we've done a lot of work to get to the point where we've rolled it out. We want to try and make it as successful as possible. So we really need to have more people than we usually do on a pilot. Okay. What I loved. This was a huge tick for me. The Center of Excellence. Microsoft have got a document in there where you can just copy and paste a ton of stuff to do your omni-channel promotion. Really quick and easy. It has things like, it says, what are all the suggested content in here? And these are only just a couple of pages, by the way. In SharePoint, these are the things you could put in terms of your SharePoint sites. Build your own. This is the type of channels you might put in Teams. Not only that, but here's what you might say for each of those channels to get them started. Oh, yes, I got an adoption specialist going, we don't have to think about it. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Thanks very much. And as we go through, welcome messages. Lovely. There's so much content in there, guys. Go and have a look. All pre-built, tells you what links and where the links are and where you might actually drop them in. Okay. Viva Engage program. All of it's in there for you. Copy and paste. You want to speed up? Use it. It's there. Okay. And half of it is just knowing that it's actually there. That's half the battle. And so that's why I'm here. So we need to start. And it always starts in that fundamental. What is that individual? How can the individual use it to click a button? Then we start to move into things like the departmental value to get to the organizational value, because AI has many facets as it moves its way through. And, you know, we've had AI around for quite a while. So it's like, where does it go from here to the likes of the Copilot Studio to build for the, you know, and getting bigger and bigger. But we fundamentally need to start with one of those top generic skills that we need to maybe lift across the business to get them started, the things and the questions that they might ask. Now, as much as Copilot, and because it is new, there is one Copilot, by the way. It might be across 96 products, but there's ultimately one Copilot. But the teams that are looking after the Copilot are different from one to the other. So the PowerPoint team is different to the Excel team, to the Word team, to the Teams team. Can you imagine? We have fun when we're on calls with the Microsoft Teams team discussing how teams can use Microsoft Teams. We have fun with them. Okay, so there's some for Teams, there's some for Outlook, there's some for, so everyone's doing different things because each product has different things to work with, okay? So you're not going to necessarily get consistency from one to the next on some of the things that are coming on. They do all come together. They're looking at where does some consistency, but they are separate teams. And they are moving really fast. They are turning things. They went, that didn't work, shut it off. So you might be able to do it today, like change all of this, and then it goes, that's not working now because they shut it down. Okay, so there's lots happening from the individual. We want quick wins. Now, what I liked was there's an email campaign in there that starts from your week 1 right through to week 7. You could do this a lot faster. You might want to send out 2 in a week if you really wanted to. What it doesn't have, and where the miss is where's the countdown? We're rolling it out and turning it on in 2 weeks' time, or where's the pilot, communication? That is actually not there. So these are some of the things that you need to create potentially yourself. Now, there is some great content in there. It's got that kind of the Copilot logoing stuff. You might want to swap that out and have it as your marketing campaign of all things Copilot, so it's got consistency right across the business with team logo or whatever. So it doesn't feel so Microsoft marketing, they'll ignore it. So swap it out with your campaign. Get your good campaign, swap it out, guys. So the next thing is, off the back of that, you could, if you wanted to, the Microsoft adoption site for education actually does have countdown emails. Go in, grab it, have a little bit of a play around with it. Yay. Okay. I'm all about the fast. So if I can find it, I am going to use it. Okay. So I'll go in and work out where I can start to swap things out. You might need to swap out, potentially a picture, but that's like the main kind of Copilot, or you might put the lab there or whatever you want to do. Okay. Once you've turned it on and you can check a box to go send out emails, and send out even monthly emails, they will automatically get, when it goes on, an email go, well, this is what you could do and how you could actually do it. And I like that because it gets people on the journey without me having to think about it, because they've just got, it's now on for you, and these are some of the prompts that you could actually do. So if you got it, you might have seen it. But I do like, and if you check the box in the back end as part of that license assignment, you check the box, it can give you a monthly communication on things like prompts. This will actually help you on that reinforce on my triangle. Yeah, you want to do reinforcing on how to do things. These are the things that might come through that might help quarter of the business that might potentially read it, but everything helps. The other thing that you've actually got now, education. Here we go. Are we ready? The joys. It's come out. A lot of people may not understand the journey. They might understand ChatGPT. They might not understand Microsoft purchased ChatGPT. And off the back of it, Copilot is really still a bit embedded in the year 2021. So if you try and ask it who won Eurovision a week or 2 ago, it's not going to know. Okay. So it's like, how far back when it comes to internet, help them to understand where it is, not where they think it is, number one. Because that's where I'm seeing they're going, it didn't work. I'm not using it. Didn't give me what I wanted. It was like, wrong information. Bang, you've lost them immediately. It's much harder to turn a negative around than it ever is to just educate them right at the beginning. Okay, so that they at least understand that it's constantly changing. Okay, I see this go up. No, I'm going to get caught the whole time sitting there going, hang on a second, am I supposed to know what a semantic index is? What's a semantic index? Okay, don't put this in front of your everyday end users. It's just, they're just going to get caught on it. They go, should I, hang on, it's going out to open an AI. What's in there? Should I be putting my where do documents go in there? Okay, let's not. So stop. There is another slide. Well, it's not really a slide, but part of the video on the Copilot ecosystem explained is this one. Simplify it down. It's like you're in your app, you put in a prompt, it goes and looks at all of your content. And from there, it goes out to what we class as a large language model, and keep it really simple. Like if you had to explain to your grandmother or a preschooler or explain if you really have to talk about it, it goes to the wider web and it just pulls it all together and puts give them some context, but you don't need to deep dive on it. Otherwise, you're going to get a ton of questions and you're lost. You could talk about, Microsoft Graph and helping them to understand. Microsoft Graph depends on your audience and how that prompt actually works with. You can talk about dealing with the internet and what it's going to potentially pull for you to help. What will actually happen when it goes, is it going to bring you resources? Well, no, that large language model is looking at hundreds of sites and looking at the most accurate across it all. It's not going to give you the referencing for 100 or 200 or 500 sites that have all got the same information, okay? So help them to understand. Don't put this in front of them. Okay, I see this go in front of people too. I kind of go, well, we're in modern work, but hang on a second, there's lots of stuff in there that is not there. It's moving too fast. But these are all the various places because they kind of go, am I supposed to know? Are we using that in the business? Don't get caught. Now, a lot of times, and I put my wheel up, and the reason I've got my wheel, this is my infographic if anyone has seen it out there. So I put the wheel up because I kind of go, as I said, oh, we've now got Copilot and it's in Planner, and we got Copilot, it's in Loop. Do I have to, hang on, Loop? What's Loop? Do I have to know Loop? You're demoing Loop. Hang on, what's Loop? So sometimes we need to even start from basic education on some of the products before we can go, you want to get good value out of something like Loop, teach them first before you start to talk Copilot. Okay? So start them potentially on a bit of an education journey. It gives you the perfect opportunity to re-educate across the business when you introduce a new product. Seize the moment. Okay. The other thing is helping them to understand where the icon is and what it looks like across the applications, because it's different wherever they go. Okay. And even in Word, it's actually embedded inside the Word. You've actually got it embedded in there on the left gutter inside Word. It's embedded in. So help them to understand where. It is still coming. So it's, preview and not too far off coming in some of the other products. If you're going to go do training and you're going to try and train on Copilot across all these products, it's going to take you a really long time. Are you doing seminar? Are you doing hands-on? Seminar is about exciting people to do something, getting excited. If you're doing hands-on, it's inciting them to do something. So if you're going to do something, you probably want to get them to physically type so they can get over their fear of AI. You're going to need time, at least a half day to even do PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams, just those 5. You're going to need a half day. That's a lot of topics. Okay. And you're talking about hands-on typing prompts, all sorts of things, okay? Give them some time. You're lucky, you might have 2 hours. What are you going to do? Okay, and be really clear and focused. Inside the trainer kit, the training content map. So I do really like the training content map. There are handouts there, things to be able to try. Prompting, what does that actually look like? It's in here as slides. There's screenshots of them in the slides if you want to see. I'm not putting it up on the screen. Take too long. Now, what is not there in the training kit, which I've spoken to the team about, is there are no demo files in there because I kind of want you to align it to a particular scenario and use content internally. But as trainers, often we need something to start with, or we might want to have a play around. There are demo files that are out there that Microsoft have got in lots of different areas and communities. I have downloaded them. I've put them onto my SharePoint and I'm sharing them with you. Play. Okay. How are we going? You feeling fire hose yet? Feeling fire? It's a big topic. So let's have a look. Now, this is where it all goes a little on the pear-shaped information. So how do I get them to move from the command to the conversational prompt? Because the average individual will go straight to Bing and go dinner with Tom Cruise. They do just a couple of words and they get 126,000 or 1 point whatever billion type responses because they don't know how to do the things that we want them to do. They're very used to doing command prompts, not conversational prompts. So some of the things that I particularly like is in the bottom right-hand corner of prompts, you've actually got a microphone. Get them to turn the microphone on and talk to Copilot instead of typing. They tend to be a little bit freer when they actually click on the microphone and ask it. The other thing I then say is, you've got your own personal assistant. They've just started and they're sitting beside you and you go, write me an email. And they go, hang on, I'm writing an email on what? To who? What am I using? Where's the information for it? Okay. That is not going to give you what you need. You have someone like an assistant that's actually coming in and starting a job. Go get that file. You need this here. Get that from there. It needs to be very formal because it's going to the board members. It's not for my staff. It's not for my, it's not one-on-one with my co-worker. You got to give it some understanding of what that looks like. The other one that works really well is school student. What does the teacher give them for an assignment? Anyone? A really nice long list of what they've got to do. Go to the library, get that book. They tell them. It's quite prescriptive. No different in prompt. If they've got, kids or dealt with, or they've been to probably university or school themselves, remember what it was like, listing it out, no different. Put it into a context of something they would understand. Because if you go, this is how you can write a good prompt, it's like, well, that doesn't help them to understand or put it in context. Okay, so when it comes through, now I do like some of the stuff. This is all pretty standard in bullet points and who's it with and the source and the expectation. But what I particularly liked was over on the leading in the AI era, there is a piece here around inclusive prompting. And as part of that inclusive prompting, it actually had something that's coming through as part of the inclusive where it was the marketing team and in around AI. And what I liked was some of the things like the inclusive modifiers. And on top of that, who do you want the AI to be? Do you want them to be a manager who's got 20 years of experience? Do you want them to be, who do you want the technical specialist, this and a data analyst? Give them a role, for example. But the words here, some great words to be able to put in for inclusivity. What do you want to do? I want to help people have a sense of trust in the words that, I'm putting out there. What are the where we see the same thing, the same words being used all the time. You go on LinkedIn, you can just tell because they've used, try and give it, what are the inclusive words and things that you might be able to use to help them on that journey? The next piece is where are the prompts actually going? Because each application will give you different things. And if they put it into something like Windows, the snipping tool is actually a Windows tool. It goes straight to the snipping tool, so you can just go, It'll do something different depending on where you are, help them to understand it's different. The other thing is which Copilot. They're not all equal. Are they going to copilot.microsoft.com? Do they have it on work? Do they have it on web? Are they going to Microsoft365.com and they're putting it into the Copilot chat? And where are they clicking? And that there are different views and different Copilots and they get a little lost and a little confused as to which one is which. Help untangle. Get them into the lab. Look at the prompts. Do the filtering, see what they can do, help them to understand the lab. So have a play around. Now on the cloud.microsoft is the Copilot lab. It's got a whole piece around the art of prompting and all the different apps. It's actually listing out all of the apps in there and what you could do in all those apps. Go and just copy and paste from the frequently asked questions. If you're doing a SharePoint site or you got your IT site with FAQs, copy and paste. They're there, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Outlook. Limitations, you don't need to type them all out yourself. In fact, I recently just did it. FAQs for Microsoft Word, and I put it into literally Word. Give me the top FAQs in this tone, bullet points with the Q and the A and I just listed all these things out with all the wording. I said, put it in a casual tone. I did this, and I just went, nice, copy, paste, copy, paste. Okay, I didn't even need to go here because you can just use Copilot to write your FAQs for you. Thank you. The other one that's causing some confusion is Teams Premium. What's Copilot do? What does Premium, does Copilot actually put it all into action items for me? You'll get off track if you don't talk about it up front. Okay, so better to start than to get bogged down, and advise them what happens between the two. Where is the consistency? Where's that interconnection between them? No, Teams Premium will create all the action items, where that one will give you a list of the action items you can copy and paste and start to look at where you put them. Okay, help them there. Another one is password protected documents. And it's like, if they've got it open, yes, it's going to pull it. But if it's not going to pull it. Okay, help them around the governance side of things. If they are seeing data that they shouldn't. Now, what I've got is a form here for you, not far off being done. Got a form here for you, and that form you can copy and paste. So it's got the link there, the copy of the form to report breaches. It's just a really simple form. In that form that you can actually use that I've created for you is, what's the date of the breach? What are their name? Explain in detail where was the breach. For example, provide any, location links or something like that that's actually come up for you. Do you want me to come back to you? What I can't do, because it's an externally enabled, is put in a field to do things like add a screenshot. So go in and create your own field, drop it into my form. It's a copy for you, go and have a play. You might have other governance processes, or maybe you've built an AI, an app or something about it, but this gets people started for a lot of change to work, especially if you're in pilot, just a way to be able to report if you need to. There is lots in there around prompts, and there's plenty that Danielle's doing around prompting. I'm not going to spend any time in here. We've talked a bit about it. There are a ton of slides I've put in this around all the places I found some good prompting and things that you could put in. So they're all in the presentation, okay? I'm not going to go in. It is not autopilot. Get them to check their facts. And where did they point it to? Make sure it's not something from 2017 and they've got a 2023 document. Okay, they've always got to go and double check. And it's really important they understand this. Now, this was the slide that I said in terms of all the training and all of the links. The great part is you can just drop it into your own SharePoint site. Some really cool content. You don't have to think about it too much. You want to speed yourself up? Copy and paste. Okay. Now, there's an academy. The academy that comes in, apart from Microsoft Learn and the academy, and you want them to be able to help out. What I particularly like about the academy is coming in, and it's all part of moving through into Viva Learning. So you can actually select, if you're using Viva Learning, if you're not sure what Viva Learning is, it's an aggregator. So you can have your LMS, you can have your SharePoint, you can have learning pathways, you can have lots of stuff, and you bring it all together as a base that sits over the top of it all like a pane of glass. It's inside Teams in terms of its basic, and it's got the Copilot Academy that you can turn on as an administrator to be able to help people do learning through the Microsoft training. Okay, quick, easy, with lots of great content in there. If you actually go to Microsoft Learn, there's lots of really good stuff in there that sits in that end user space as well. So if you do some filtering, in fact, the link has already got it filtered for you. I'm doing the work for you. On Microsoft Learn, you've got the academy, you've got the links to the training, you've got all sorts of really cool stuff clicking you through off the back of this, okay? But if you are going to measure, now we talked about the beginning, this is the things you can do over at the end, the turnover, coming back around, measuring beginning, measuring end. I'm not going to go through that one, but you'll see here there are outcomes and examples that you can work with, things like that retention, the employee engagement. Now, some of it is qualitative, some of it is quantitative, because there's going to be the question, what was your satisfaction with the IT department? Okay, it's very subjective. It's based on the individual. So there are still some questions that we need to potentially ask before that's nothing to do with Copilot. But this is the survey that I was talking about that was hidden in amongst the middle of nowhere. Okay. Now, I like this survey because what it will do is it tells you exactly what to ask and how you're going to do it with the type of scale and putting it in. It's a quick, easy for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I see way too many surveys where it's leading. Did we do an excellent job? Okay, that's not a good survey. Okay, it's there. Your analytics. Now, I love the analytics. The question came up, last night around the analytics side of things, because on the analytics, you've got the seeded versus the premium. If you've got your Viva Premium, you're going to get a lot more out of it in terms of analytics. It moves from tenant level down to department, down to the teams and roles and things like that. Okay, so you actually need a higher level of subscription to be able to get some of those analytics if you want to dive down into it. Okay, so there is some great data, and some of that data that I particularly like in regards to the sentiment. So it's some of the patterns that you're going to see. So you do need the added value with Viva, but in there I'm going to jump to, there we go. I'm not going to go through the video. Jump to here. So in this is things like exactly what it's doing. What are people doing? Where are they doing it? Which application? What are they asking, for example? Going right down into some detail, you can actually see how are they going? Where do you need to focus your attention on? In your pilot, where you need to focus your attention on before you start rolling it out to the rest of the business. Measure at the beginning, measure at the end of the pilot, give it a chance before you start to roll it out and see where you're finding real gaps in the business so you can plug those holes before it gets too big. Okay. That's why we have pilots. Leave some time between pilot and going live if you can, as much as you can to be able to do this. So you want to be able to deliver impact. Now, there's some great links that actually through here to be able to help you to understand things like adoption impact, meeting effectiveness. So it will give you some cool content around behaviors and your culture when it comes to meetings, long meetings, 20% reduction in attended meeting hours per user per week. Because if information is actually being surfaced for you automatically, we spend less time there. Productivity savings. Okay. What I also like is there is this new piece that's come into play. And as part of your Copilot usage, up the top here, and depending on the role that you've actually got, you can push out messages that then go through Windows as pop-ups for your end user. Love it. Okay. Ways to be able to push out to make this a little bit faster. They are direct messaging to the user that you can go encourage them on this piece and that piece. And there's more coming on that for an adoption sort of specialist about customized messages through the message center, through Windows. The community hub, the what's new. Get your champs familiar with it so they understand what's actually coming and what's happening across this space. I do like Promptbuddy. It's a GitHub free for you. You can plug it into your environment. Stuart Ridout has actually put this along with Eric, where it's a bit of gamification. You can do the suggestions, top prompts. People can vote on it. So you can start to look at what for your business is the best type of prompt for this type of role, for this type of department, this time. You want to get really good, adoption and getting moving. There's nothing like having a communal way to be able to do it. Move a little faster. Microsoft came and spoke. So Craig Schiffers is the specialist. He's actually based in Queensland. He's the SME. He presented in December last year at my user group. Adam Gernon came in. He did the early access program and spoke about what were the challenges in terms of rolling out this technology as part of all the early access program. One of those was, of course, the new Outlook back when, because that's all you could actually use back then. But they found that 76% of people stayed when they could step away. Surprisingly. I also had Caruana, who heads up the adoption team, as well as Heather, come and do a fireside chat with me around all things adoption. That was only just recently. If you want to hear from the horse's mouth, I have told you a lot of what they've actually said, but this is a great session to be able to watch. I am presenting at the Digital Workplace Conference coming up very soon if you're coming along. So I will be talking a bit more about my wheel and adoption. A lot of these links are available throughout the presentation. I've kind of pulled them together here for you. And ultimately, it's about you as an individual going on the journey for learning. It's not necessarily about the technology. We can have lots of it, lots of buttons, but you've got to want to be there, okay? So thank you very much. If you want to have a chat with me, I do adoption full end-to-end as a consultant and helping and supporting businesses on their journey. Thank you very much. There's the presentation link again. If you would like to actually get it down, I will leave that there. Everyone grab their pizzas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kirsty.
Yeah, I know it's a big it's a big topic.
There's not much information, is there?
No,
Really?
no,
be
it's
honest?
really not. Over?
Um,
Yeah, just discard. That's fine. Over. Oh, you've already got it.
and then we can
Yeah.
click.
You should be fine now.
Very, very good.
Hang on, let me just bring it back here. Righto. Now click.
Yay, very good. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for turning up in person. Look, I think we can all agree there is a ton of content coming out and things to understand with Copilot. Look, Kirsty's gone through a lot of stuff there. The recording is available. Kirsty's presentation is available. I know we went through a lot of stuff really, really quickly. So go back over that and consume that at your leisure. As I said at the start, this does happen every month. Okay, so the next event is happening on 26th of June. We do have William Honeycutt, who is going to be presenting. He's from the US. So he was involved really, really early with Copilot, rolling this out to a really, really large medical institution in the US. So he's got some amazing insights and some really good use cases and how to utilize different experiences in Copilot, example prompts, things like that are going to be actionable for you guys to be able to get and run with as well. So join. We'll be in person as well. All right. So we will be here in person. We'll be online. So he'll be presenting remotely, but we will still be here in person as well. For those here, we do have pizza. We do have a few beverages and that type of thing. For everybody that is online, thank you. Thank you very much for joining online. There was many people joining online. So hopefully the audio, no questions. There wasn't that many. Well, there you go.
Will Copilot Academy work with Viva Learning seeded, or do we also have to purchase Viva licenses? Okay, so the Viva Learning, so the Academy, the Viva Learning, Viva Learning itself, there's the base level. Everyone has it as part of their license. But if you want to be able to take it to the next level, to be able to embed LMSs and all sorts of stuff like that, you then need to start purchasing licenses. If you want to build out plans and programs and all sorts of stuff with it, you do need the Viva license suite. It's not about the Copilot piece, it's about Viva licenses. So yeah. So that's that question. Okay.
Copilot for SharePoint. I've read that they have started releasing now. And one part and second part, the key question had been troubling me. A user accessing the document in SharePoint and we know the permission levels. Would it learn automatically that for each user only provide the answer from the documents that they have?
Yeah, it does. So it is security trimmed. So Copilot will only ever respond and give you responses back to content that you've got access to. Yeah. I think that's all.
That's all.
No more questions? Copilot it out. Done. Very good. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see you all. Grab some pizza, grab some drinks. Thanks, everybody online.